Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 15th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Emma. I believe links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 15, The Rest of Round 2. Izuku was rubbing the bump that Recovery Girl gave him. Thanks to Haki, he didn't worry about hurting himself thanks to One for All, well, most of the time. Turned out coming all three powers still caused stress that the Haki couldn't protect him from. I have never seen so many stress fracture in one leg. She scolded him. Izuku laughed nervously. It's better than completely breaking it, but be careful, said Recovery Girl. I'll try, said Izuku. All Might came into to check. So how's your leg? Said All Might. Just some stress fractures, said Izuku. A lot of them, muttered Recovery Girl. That move you used, said All Might. A combination of my quirk, Haki, and an attack I have called Hell Memories, said Izuku, unable to say the name of his quirk as Todoroki was in the room. Please don't ask me about it. I'd rather not talk about it right now. Don't use it until you can control your quirk, said Recovery Girl. I'll try, said Izuku. You should see who you'll be facing in the semifinals, said Recovery Girl. Oh right, said Izuku. Izuku left, leaving the two adults to sigh. How is young Todoroki? Asked All Might. He'll be fine soon, said Recovery Girl. All Might nodded and seemed to smile. What is it? Asked Recovery Girl. I should get back to the teacher's box, said All Might. However, as he left, All Might thought back to a conversation with Endeavor before the tournament about how his son would beat him. I wonder, thought All Might. Not too long later, Izuku got to the Class 1A box. Everyone looked at him. It was clear at awe. After all, they had heard he was powerful and had seen some of that power, but to see it all, but just unexpected. You're insanely powerful, you know that, right? Asked Kaminari. I know, laughed Izuku. Midoriya, were you a pervert in your past life? Asked Mineta. What? Asked Izuku, paling. I just got this feeling that you were a pervert during your fight, said Mineta. That's ridiculous, it's all in your head, you're being ridiculous, said Izuku. He began to sweat profusely. Oh man! You were! Laughed Kaminari. You're one of us, said Mineta, making a creepy face. One of us, said Kaminari. Start chanting and you die, said Izuku, entering Sanji mode with the air black around him and shadows covering his face. Both began to sweat in fear. Stop fooling around and sit down, said Momo, entering Urza mode. Izuku nodded and sat down. Mina looked at Momo and Izuku and began to sweat. She got up. I really need to get ready, she said. Shouldn't you get ready too? Asked Toru. I'll get ready in a few minutes, said Momo. Mina sighed as she left. Bakugo just glared at the therapy group sitting together. Hey Izuku, when the match is over I need to talk to you about something, said Mashireo. Okay, said Izuku. Soon enough the match was beginning. Izuku knew this match was important because it would show who he would be facing in the next round. Especially since it would either be a close friend, granted one who had a rival declaration, or a girl. Which meant it would test his training and see if he could hit any woman or just Momo. However, Ida's match was over extremely quickly. Ibara used her vine hair to try to capture him, but he used a powerful move that made his engines go supercharged and used it to push Ibara out of bounds. Looks like I'm going to be facing Ida, said Izuku. He began his mutter spree, talking about his strategy and how he should go all out since there are different ways for him to do. Izuku, said Mashireo. Izuku stopped muttering, it's not that. he said. Izuku then remembered he wanted to talk about something. Oh yeah, said Izuku. The two left to talk in the hall. So what did you want to ask me? Asked Izuku. This is going to sound weird, said Mashireo, but that final attack you used against Todoroki. What about it? Asked Izuku. I runs on negative emotions, doesn't it? Asked Mashireo. How did you know? Asked Izuku surprised. I have a move like that too, said Mashireo. Oh, said Izuku. I think we can all agree Toru can't know about this, said Mashireo. Izuku realized that he was right, thanks to a past life personality trait she wasn't to make everyone she could happy. And having an attack powered by negative emotions was probably a big problem. Yeah, you're right, said Izuku. Mine is a last resort attack said Mashireo. Mine too, said Izuku. We don't Toru anything about it, said Mashireo. The two nodded in agreement. They heard Toru humming and skipping by them, thankfully not asking about what they were talking about. So what are you talking about? Asked Momo. Don't ask, the two said in perfect unison. Momo nodded and left, getting the feeling that it was probably for the best. Outside of the nurse's office, Todoroki had recovered and given a new gym uniform as his old one was destroyed in the fight. There you are, said Endeavor. Todoroki gritted his teeth. You got no out of the second round, however I'm willing to ignore it considering your childish rebellion is over, said Endeavor. That had nothing to do with you, said Todoroki. What? Asked Endeavor. In that moment I had completely forgotten about you, said Todoroki. Todoroki walked away, leaving his father steaming, possibly literally. That was when he turned the corner to find Toru waiting for him. Hey! You want to watch with everyone else? Said Toru. Before Todoroki could answer, Toru dragged him away to the box. Everyone in the box saw she dragged him. She's not going to let you leave, said Mashireo, so it's best to just give up, sit down and watch the rest of the tournament. Todoroki looked at the rest of the class and down. When he sat down, Bakugo got up. So who do you think will win? Asked Kirishima. Probably Yayorozu, said Tokoyami. Yeah, she knows her way around the sword, said Kaminari. But could that be enough for acid? Asked Shoji. On the battlefield the competitors made their way. Mina was a bit nervous, after all, she had seen what Izuku could do, the reincarnated students seemed to be stronger. And began. I'm not going to let you create anything, said Mina, creating. However, it was too late. Momo already lifted her shirt and created a shield to block, which worked. Oh man, muttered Mina. That was when she created a metal staff. Seriously, yelled Mina. Momo ran towards Mina, not even relenting. Mina to go on the defense and run away, squirting acid from her shoes in order for her to get away and like a skates. However, Momo managed to tackle her with her shield towards the boundary. Mina tried to get away by slipping away with the acid. But it didn't work, if anything it made things worse for her. She ended up slipping out of bounds. Mina Ashido is out of bounds. Momo Yayorozu is going to the semi-finals. Called out Midnight. Momo breathed a sigh of relief and headed back inside the stadium. As she did, she passed by Bakugo. She glared harshly at him. But Bakugo ignored the glare. In the teacher's box, Hibiki was still cheering. He's like that dad, said All Might. Can you blame him? Said 13. I guess not, said All Might. The student box. Toru was the one cheering the loudest. The other members of the therapy group all sweat dropped. Hey, shouldn't you be getting ready for your next match? Asked Ochako. No, I need to watch the next match, said Izuku. Of course he does, said Mashireo. You're right, said Ochako. Hopefully Kirishima will win, said Toru in a low voice, because if he doesn't, Bakugo is going to get beat pretty badly no matter who he faces. Izuku started blushing, realizing that fact. You already tried to convince them it wasn't their fight, said Mashireo. Don't look at me, said Toru. Izuku sighed. Both Bakugo and Kirishima got to the battlefield, and soon enough the match began. What was the surprising fact that it had began with Bakugo on the defense, which shocked Izuku especially. This led him to go on a mutter spree. You know, you guys have been rather blatant about not liking Bakugo, said Tsuyu. This caught the therapy group off guard. There has to be a reason, said Kaminari. They're not allowed to talk about it, said Izuku. The rest of the class was surprised. Why not? Asked Kaminari. Because it's obviously personal, and whoever has the reason, they don't want to talk about it. It's one of the rules of our therapy group, said Ochako. No talking about someone else's problems. That makes sense, said Tokoyami. Wait, you talked about the whole friendship thing, said Kaminari. That's because I let them, said Toru. Hey, look, Bakugo's finally going on the offensive, said Ochako, making sure to change the subject, which everyone agreed on. However, Todoroki looked at Izuku, who was still watching the match. Soon enough, Bakugo let loose with large explosions, and Kirishima was knocked out. Ijiro Kirishima is knocked out. Katsuki Bakugo goes to the next round, said Midnight. Well, looks like that's it, said Izuku. Bakugo's going to the semifinals, sighed Ochako. Yeah, said Izuku. Hopefully Momo will beat him, said Mashireo. Izuku said nothing and left. In the teacher's box, Hibiki just sighed. What's wrong? Asked 13. Therapy group matters, said Hibiki. Well, mostly. Izuku opened up to Ida about something, and that's all I can say. Hibiki suddenly got a text. He checked to see it was from Aiko, who wrote, Captain Boom Boom is gonna die, with a bunch of skulls. Seriously? Asked Hibiki. I wanted to say something, but all other outlets would cause problems right now, said Aiko. Hibiki looked at his fellow teachers. You know, in my past life, I didn't have as much storage for my AIs. With the leaps in the last couple centuries, I was able to give her more personality than my previous ones, said Hibiki. Keep telling yourself that, buddy, whatever lets you sleep at night, said Aiko. Your relationship is weird, said Power Loader. We know, said Hibiki and Aiko in perfect unison. Meanwhile, Izuku headed back downstairs, mentally getting ready for the next match. After all, he was facing off against one of his closest friends. Not only that, but thanks to Ida's quirk, he knew what the match was going to be. Focused one. It was going to see a match to see who had the stronger kick. So yeah, it should be a rather interesting match. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 16. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.